You're listening to the Marne Report.
Well, hey, Fort Stewart, Hunter Army Airfield. This is Molly, and we are back with another edition of the Marne Report podcast. Today, I am joined by Lieutenant Colonel Wright. She is the Chief of Behavioral Health through Wynn Army Community Hospital in Medak, correct?
Yes.
Thank you so much for being on the podcast with me today.
Yes, thank you for having me.
All right, so today, what I would like to do is talk to you a little bit about your behavioral health program. Can you tell me just a little bit about what it is?
Yes, so there are behavioral health programs aligned with units throughout the installation here at Fort Stewart and at Hunter.
Mm-hmm.
And so the concept is that behavioral health care is accessible to the soldiers, and so the clinics are placed within the footprint. So we have several embedded behavioral health clinics. Here at Fort Stewart, we have 1st Brigade, 2nd Brigade, which is out at the Marne TMC in their compound. We have 3rd Sustainment and Devarty. We have a multi-D embedded behavioral health clinic located at Liberty Wing in the hospital, which captures the units that don't necessarily fall under 3rd ID or
Sure.
kind of misaligned. And then at 3 Cab, we have one up there at Hunter.
Wow. So, far and wide. Great. And then when we say behavioral health, what exactly are the services that are offered?
So in each embedded behavioral health clinic, there are multidisciplinary providers. We have behavioral health techs who do a majority of the triaging and walk-in services. They also help facilitate some psychoeducational groups.
Okay.
We have clinicians who are LCSWs, which are licensed social workers, psychologists, LPCs, and then we also have prescribers that are either nurse practitioners or psychiatrists to manage complex medications.
Sure. So we're talking, you guys really run the gamut with all levels of mental health. That's fantastic that that's offered. Is it just for our service members or is it for family members as well?
There is a child and adolescent behavioral health clinic also at the hospital in Liberty Wing that will provide services for our beneficiary dependents and children.
Sure. And one would have to think, obviously the time changes, it gets darker outside, and then the holidays are right behind that, right? That's sad, that, is a real thing, especially, when the holidays roll around. Some people feel a lot more bummed out. Do you tend to see an uptick in services during the holidays?
I think we see an uptick, not necessarily because of SAD, which is the seasonal affective disorder,
Mm-hmm.
but just also the holiday stress.
Sure.
Here at Fort Stewart and Hunter, the deployment cycle
Right.
is a huge factor in an uptick in patient care.
Sure. So do you have any suggestions for individuals who may be seeking assistance through behavioral health if maybe there's a wait list and, are people able to get in pretty quickly?
So we do allow people to walk in.
Sure.
We triage those individuals that walk in. And a triage usually will consist of gathering some information to really pinpoint what their concern is or what their level of distress is.
Okay.
Because it's going to be best to have that individual link up with a resource that is best suited for that concern that they're having. So there is a little bit of a time lag between walking in sometimes and getting an appointment, and then even there's time that you might have to wait before you can actually get in to see your therapist for the routine care.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're going to do our best to ensure that other resources that are able to address individuals' concerns are available for them as well.
Sure. And when you speak of resources, I know we have several listed on the Fort Stewart Hunter Army Airfield website for individuals who are seeking additional resources in addition to behavioral health, which is also on our list. If you just go to our homepage, it's home.army.mil/Stewart, and you scroll down in the menu section on the left-hand side of the page, you'll see crisis resources, and anything from behavioral health to the VA to Army Community Service, right? Because that's a huge service that I think many people don't realize is available to them, right? So you say, you pinpoint the issue and make sure that the individual is receiving the right type of care to really get down to the bottom of exactly what might be, upsetting them or eating at them. That might be new parent support. That might be the financial assistance and financial readiness counselors that are available through ACS, all the way down to helping you with Christmas presents for your kids, right, through the toy drive that they just did. So I think that, the way that you guys partner with making sure that the individuals get to the right place for help is incredible.
Absolutely. There are many levels of resources.
Sure.
Military One Source is a great resource. You look at their 800 number, call them. You can view their website, which has many different resources, and they'll link you to other resources and services of support. The Military Family Life Consultant are also great non-medical counseling for supportive care or short-term solution-focused problems.
Sure.
They also do family work. So those Military Family Life Consultants will meet with couples, they'll meet with adolescents, the soldiers. So they're sprinkled throughout Fort Stewart and Hunter.
That's great. And also they're even in our schools, right? In our local schools in Chatham County and Liberty County and in our Dodia schools here. And I also think, talking about kids in particular, and especially this time of year, everybody's out of their routine, right? So especially when you think about like the tweens and the teens who are just angsty about everything and think that when their parents tell them to clean their room that they're getting yelled at, like these kids are like, oh, just get me back in school so I can get away from my family. So, I think it's also important, to make sure that we're paying attention to our kids too, and maybe seek some assistance through the military family life counselors, if that's needed, for sure.
Absolutely.
Everybody's got to get it off their chest somehow, right?
Right.
One question that I did want to ask you is, I think it's probably cooler now to ask for help than it has been in the past. Like people aren't so worried about a stigma thing behind, seeking assistance. Can you kind of offer some insight into if we do have especially a service member that is seeking assistance, that's not going to reflect poorly on them? Can you maybe offer some more insight into that?
Absolutely. I do think that people through casual conversations mention more now that they have a therapist or that they're getting some supportive care or they're utilizing a resource more than they ever have. And it doesn't interfere with your ability to serve and stay in uniform. If I can mention, like when those individuals are filling out the SF-86 for security clearance, it actually says on the top of the form that you can say no to question 21, which is, are you seeking behavioral health care? Mm-hmm. So, the military is trying not to have a barrier for people to go get help. So if you do check yes, you're saying I'm willing to talk about why I'm going to behavioral health. And so, then that's a different situation. But, unless you're on a profile or you have a significant service disqualifying condition, seeking help is actually a good thing.
Right.
And I think, the Army wants us to be preventative. So they have multiple resources at all different levels throughout the installation for us to do so. Sure.
And even through like our chaplains, right? We always think about mental fitness, spiritual fitness. It really, physical fitness. It all really, everything goes in to one, like it all feeds into each other. And we really do have several wonderful resources on the installation and even, that spread out into the community for anyone that needs assistance, even our DoD civilians, correct? So I think it's probably most important, right, to make sure that everyone knows that even in their darkest hour, there is always someone available.
Yeah, and if people don't share that they're under distress or that they need assistance, then other people can help. And as humans, we need to connect with others. Mm-hmm. Like, we're not designed to do things on our own or be isolated. And so I would encourage people to let your friends know, let your chain of command know, let your family know if you need food, right? There's food banks all over the county and all over the surrounding counties here at Fort Stewart and Hunter who have that resource available. People are willing to help. It's the holidays. A lot of times people want to do things extra. So I encourage people to speak up and let their needs be known to those around them.
Yeah, and it's amazing that you just said really brought me back to even if you go on any Facebook group in the world, you've always got right now somebody, even if they're posting anonymously, like where can I go to find discounted toys for my kids for the holidays, or where can I go to find my Thanksgiving or my Christmas meal? And it truly is amazing if you just watch the thread underneath those comments, how quickly the community comes together for that individual and for that family. I mean, I think especially it being in a military community, people really rally the ones that are needing assistance, even if they've never met you before. I mean, I've seen posts on our social media pages here for Fort Stewart that are like, well, I have to go walk my dog at, 10 p.m. and, or I'm caring for someone's pet that's in a different neighborhood that I'm not familiar with. And somebody speaks up and says, oh, I live in that neighborhood, I'll come walk with you. They don't even know each other, but it's just the amazing amount of support that is given by our community members to those in need is just, it's really special.
It's amazing.
Yeah. So I think just making sure that people know, again, they're never alone. Your darkest hour can turn into the brightest one by a complete stranger. Yeah. So is there anything else that you would like to add about your program or just care in general?
Well, if I can mention just about holidays
Sure.
in general. It's supposed to be a time of joy where families get together and do things, but we know that there are people out there who don't have family.
Sure.
Or the holidays is a sensitive time for them. It's not always joyous because of some things that have happened to them. And so I just encourage people to plan for the holidays, right? Know what your budget is. Maybe have activities available. Like you said, you have your teenagers or your tweens at the house and they're going to be grumpy. So, low budget activities like maybe a little scavenger hunt or have them do something that's creative, especially if you have a loved one who may be deployed or
Sure.
not able to come for the holidays. Don't spend outside of what your budget is. So have a budget, set limits. Boundaries are always a great idea.
Yeah.
Right? Letting people know that I can't attend every holiday party, or I'm going to have to leave early, or I'm not able to bring a dish. Like, people are going to be okay if you're honest with them and you let them know, like, this is where this is my limit, this is my boundary.
Yeah.
And that's going to protect you and keep you being healthy during this time of stress.
Sure, absolutely. And what I always, in my house, of course, kids will be kids. They'll have like a Christmas list that's like 25 things long, but we've limited it down to 3 things. It's always, something that you really, really want, something that you need, and then just like one cool thing, right? And we've really placed the focus more on memories than we do on stuff, because at the end of the day, the stuff won't be around forever. It might break or you'll grow out of it, but the memories are with you forever. And I know a lot of people think that that's super cheesy, but, at the end of the day, that's what it's all about is, creating happy, healthy moments, for yourself and for your family. Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah.
It's a great idea.
Well, this has been such a great conversation, and I appreciate you so much coming on. I just know that times can be tough around the holidays, and it's also important to note that it's not just the holidays that these resources are available. They're available all year round.
Yes.
Well, all right. Do you have anything else you want to add?
No, I appreciate you having me on today. Thank you.
Yeah, sure thing. You are welcome back anytime. All right, everybody. Well, that does it for this week's edition of the Marne Report podcast. This is Molly, and that is Lieutenant Colonel Wright from Behavioral Health, and we are signing off.
If you or someone you know needs crisis support, dial 988. This 3-digit dialing code connects directly to the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline, where compassionate, accessible care and support is available for anyone experiencing mental health-related distress. The 988 Lifeline helps thousands of people struggling to overcome suicidal crises or mental health-related distress every day. There is hope. Call or text 988 today.